Ray Brown's Talking Birds.
Made possible by the generous support of the Birdwatchers General Store, Orleans, Cape Cod. Birdwatchersgeneralstore.com.
And by Vortex Optics with the VIP warranty. Their unlimited lifetime promise to keep you and your optic covered. Learn more at vortexoptics.com.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Welcome to our show number 1081. Let's start with a headline from a story by our friend Marshall Johnson at National Audubon. It says, America's birds are declining. The Farm Bill can help turn the tide. Subheadline, as Congress advances the Farm Bill, strengthening voluntary conservation programs on farms, ranches, and forests is essential for birds and producers and rural economies. We're hoping to have a guest from National Audubon with us on a near future show to tell us more about it. Congrats to all the folks at Mass Audubon for putting together a great annual birders meeting this past Saturday. Special thanks to our friends Candy Powell for sharing hosting duties at our Talkin' Birds table, and Chris Powell for creating some compelling additions to our display. Photos coming soon to our website. Meanwhile, just a couple of weeks away, it's the start of the month-long Georgia Bird Fest, celebrating Birds Georgia's 100th anniversary. Member registration is open. Non-member registration open March 17th. All the details at birdsgeorgia.org. Frog music, please. Yes, it's week 3 of our Name the Talking Birds Garden Frog contest. In case you missed previous announcements, here's the story. The backyard of our home radio station is our bird-friendly Talking Birds garden and our Talking Birds garden frog sculpture. Our frog doesn't yet have a name, so we're inviting Talking Birds listeners to suggest one. Our judges will pick a favorite from all the names submitted, and we'll send the winner a Vortex Diamondback 16 to 48 by 65 angled spotting scope. I believe that's about a $600 MSRP. To enter the contest, just jump over to talkingbirds.com, where you'll see a photo of the Talking Birds frog, the garden frog. And you'll see what's interesting about that frog. Under the Get Involved tab, click on Name the Frog Contest and enter the name you think should be chosen. That's Name the Frog Contest under the Get Involved tab at talkingbirds.com. That would be our mystery bird. A little preview of the mystery bird contest coming along a little bit later on in the show. Just briefly now, our mystery bird is a slim, graceful seabird, bigger than a robin, smaller than a crow, with medium gray upper parts, pale gray underparts, a glossy black cap and nape, a black-tipped red bill, narrow angular wings with dark tips, and red legs. That's our mystery bird. We'll have more details in a bit. Beautiful prizes, including an entire year's subscription to the great birding magazine, BWD, and a big bag of our favorite coffee, delicious shade-grown, bird-friendly Birds and Beans coffee. Getting ready for the mystery bird contest a little bit later on. But we have an audio postcard, and it's from our own Jesse Wilkins, who is looking at birds somewhere in the UK.
Found birds, Ray. There they go. We are at Bamborough Castle in, I think, England. We're in England, right? What country is this? There were a lot of crows, but those didn't sound like crows, Ray. Anyways, this is Jesse Wilkins from, I think, England at Bamborough Castle. Talk to you next time.
All right. Thank you so much, Jesse. Doesn't matter which country you're in, as long as you know which castle you're in. That's the main thing. We think maybe those are carrion crows, but we'll check on that. Thank you, Jesse. Well, Talking Birds listeners, if you're seeing or hearing birds at Bamberg or your backyard or any place else, send us an audio postcard. Just grab a smartphone, record what you're seeing or hearing, and send the file to Ray at talkingbirds.com. That's Ray at talkingbirds.com. We have a royal salute here this morning, as we're fortunate to have every week so far. This one is to KB from Columbus, Ohio. And Kay says, thanks to my Uncle Bill for encouraging me to sign up as an ambassador. He'd really love a shout out. That's Super Ambassador Bill Gillette. Thank you, Bill. And thank you, Kay. Well, we hope Talking Birds listeners, you'll consider joining Bill and Kay and more than 1,000 now Talking Birds ambassadors, helping us get the word out about the show and about birds and conservation. To join up, really easy. It's at that all-purpose Get Involved tab at talkingbirds.com. Just go there. You'll see how easy it is to sign up. And it's really easy to be an ambassador. We'll send you a little batch of cards. You hand them out at your convenience to friends and neighbors. That's about it. So under the talkingbirds.com website, or on the website, under the Get Involved tab, you'll see Become an Ambassador. Still to come on our show today, we'll talk with Vermont Center for Eco Studies conservation scientist Dr. Desirée Narango about how bird conservation is intimately connected with the conservation of insects and the plants that support insect communities. Also today, Mike O'Connor will join us for Let's Ask Mike, almost live from the archive, about his Key West, Florida birding experience. And up next, a bird Mike went searching for down there in the Keys is today's featured feathered friend, presented by the Bigger and Better BWD magazine, with each large format issue packed with beautiful photographs, illustrations, and in-depth articles ranging from backyard birds to birding abroad. Experience birds up close with BWD at bwdmagazine.com. On last week's show, we spoke with Mike O'Connor while he was en route to Congaree National Park in South Carolina, hoping to see some cool bird species, including today's featured feathered friend, the yellow-throated warbler. It's a sight to see, with its spectacularly bright and expansive yellow throat, along with a black mask, white eyebrow curving down through its neck, and streaked black and white underparts. This large, stocky warbler is responsible for many cases of warbler neck among birders who have to lean their heads way back to catch a glimpse of the bird as it forages high up in the tree canopy for insects, often probing into cones and needle clusters in pine trees, moving much like a black and white warbler does. Yellow-throated warblers winter along the Gulf Coast and into the Caribbean and migrate early in the spring to breed over most of the eastern half of the U.S. Their nest, built mostly by the female, is an open cup of grass, moss, bark strips, and caterpillar webs lined with plant down and feathers, often placed in moss at the end of branches. There's good news about the yellow-throated warbler's population levels, with a 1% per year increase noted between 1966 and 2019, according to the North American Breeding Bird Survey. The bird's global population is estimated at 2 million, earning it a status of low conservation concern through the Partners in Flight Conservation Assessment. It's Cetophaga dominica, today's Talking Birds featured feathered friend, the yellow-throated warbler. By the way, did Mike find a yellow-throated warbler during his visit to Congaree National Park? We'll find out next week. Welcome again to our show number 1081. Dr. Desirée Narango is a conservation scientist at the Vermont Center for Eco Studies in White River Junction, Vermont. Her research program focuses on understanding how global change impacts bird and insect populations and identifying biodiversity conservation solutions in human-dominated habitats. She has a PhD in entomology and wildlife ecology from the University of Delaware, an MS in natural resources from The Ohio State University. and a BS in environmental biology from the State University of New York College of Environmental Science and Forestry. She's also an active naturalist and gardener who enjoys getting others excited about the natural world. She joins us now as part of our Talking Birds Gardening for Birds Month. Good morning, Desirée.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Well, Desirée, you write this: because of the importance of insect prey for sustaining bird populations in all seasons, bird conservation is intimately connected to the conservation of insects, as well as the plants that support insect communities. Thus, understanding habitat quality requires a multi-trophic approach that considers interactions among plants and animals. Well, can you put that into kind of layperson's language for us, Desirée? And tell us how
Sure.
it relates to our home gardens.
Yeah, that's a very academically way of putting that birds eat insects and insects eat plants, and preserving those food webs are really important for both creating habitat for wildlife as well as creating habitat for us as well. Insects are one of the most important food items for many of our terrestrial bird species. Just to put some numbers on it, if you look across the world at all of the passerines or the songbirds, more than 95% of birds are eating insects at least in some point throughout the year.
Well, we talked a lot about native plants here on the show being better for your garden and its visitors than invasive non-native plants. But I wonder if you can elaborate a bit, Desirée, just why they are generally better.
Yeah, so this has been a big part of my research program over the past years, and it's really studying the interactions between insects and native plants because these relationships are rooted in coevolution. So our local native insects have adapted over evolutionary time to feed on very particular plants because of how they look or their timing or the chemical compounds that are found in those leaves. And so we have all these really tight relationships, like the relationship between the monarch and the milkweed is actually not a special, unique relationship. It's the rule. So for all of the butterflies and moths that you can possibly have in your yard or in your local spaces, all of those species are heavily reliant on very specific plant species. And so if we remove those native plants and replace them with introduced ornamental or invasive species that our insects aren't adapted to, they're not going to be able to feed on them. And so if we don't have the plants that the insects need to feed on, then we're also not going to have the insects that the birds need to feed on as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're right that with the boom in demand for native plants, communities are trying to repair and restore ecosystems. But if I understand correctly, you suggest that because many native plants have distributions that cover a wide range of ecoregions in the U.S., the native plants available in our local nurseries may have come from thousands of kilometers or thousands of miles away. So does that mean that some native plants are maybe not native enough?
Well, that research is really starting to get into the weeds a little bit about specific plants and whether it actually matters if we're moving them all around the country. So there's a lot of talk right now about assisted migration of plants or expanding our supply chains of native plants, because just in the past, 15 years or so, the demand for native plants has exploded. And that's an amazing thing, because no matter what, more native plants is better than no native plants, right? So no matter what, if you plant some native species, you're going to be supporting some food webs. But now that we've sort of made that jump and we're having kind of a cultural shift in appreciation of creating habitat for our native insects and birds, now we can start to get into the nitty-gritty about whether these decisions that we make such as can we buy seeds that are from the Midwest, or can we introduce oak trees from the Southeast? Now we can ask questions about whether that actually matters for our native wildlife as well. And so we have an experiment that's happening right now up here in New England where we are planting plant species that we've sourced from different locations in the United States. And then we're evaluating how well they're supporting caterpillars that birds need to eat, as well as the pollinators that visit them for flowers. So that's some of our current work right now, is to really look at that relationship between the genetic identity of a plant and the insect support that they produce.
And some of these, maybe this one is a community science project. Is that right? Getting folks involved?
Yes. So one thing that I really appreciate, I really enjoy doing as a scientist, is getting the community involved in our work. It's a wonderful way to get people excited about the science, and also help us scale out the data that we can collect into larger regions. So to complement the experimental gardens that we have about 500 volunteers across New England that are planting these same plants in their yards, so that we can see how well they do in realistic planting settings. So that project is called the Adopt a Plant Project. It's a new sort of pilot work to better understand how these plants do across urban and suburban gradients. But we do have some plans to expand some of that work into the future and get people involved in monitoring insects and birds in other ways as well.
Dr. Desirée Narango is a conservation scientist at the Vermont Center for Eco Studies in White River Junction, Vermont. She joined us here as part of our Gardening for Birds Month. Desiree, thanks so much for lending us a bit of your expertise to help us understand more about what works for birds and other creatures in our gardens and backyards.
Thanks so much. It was fun.
More about the Vermont Center for Eco Studies and Desiree and what folks can learn. You can go to the website there. I think this is pretty easy to remember, but you could do a Google search for Vermont Center for Eco Studies. It's vtecostudies.org. You could do a little search for Desirée Narango right there. Coming up next here is our Mystery Bird contest in just 1 minute.
The flutter of a tail feather, the flash of a wing bar in mid-flight. You don't always have a lot of time to identify a bird in nature, let alone to appreciate its beauty. But with Vortex Optics, you'll have the power to bring every wild moment closer. When you choose Vortex, you're choosing to have a partner in the field as passionate about nature as you are. Whether you're spotting old friends on the backyard feeder or packing for a once-in-a-lifetime trip to add a few species to your life list, Vortex offers a full range of optics and optics accessories for every birder and every budget. And whether the birds are taking you to another state or another country, you're always covered by the Vortex VIP warranty, an unlimited lifetime promise to keep you and your optic covered. If you'd like to learn more, or if you need help choosing your next optic, give Vortex a call at 1-800-4-VORTEX or visit vortexoptics.com.
It's our mystery bird again. A slim, graceful seabird. Bigger than a robin, smaller than a crow, with medium gray upper parts, pale gray underparts, a glossy black cap and nape back of the neck, a black-tipped red bill, narrow, angular wings with dark tips and red legs. Our bird winters along the Gulf Coast and points south and breeds across most of Canada and parts of the northern U.S. It feeds on small fish that it plucks from the water or captures in shallow plunge dives. What is our mystery bird? Tell us or take a guess. As always, no correct answer means a drawing determines the winner. But give us a call and let us know what you think that bird is as soon as possible. Here's the number. It's 781-837-4900. We'll give the number again in a moment. Beautiful prizes here, including a big bag of our favorite coffee. Shade-grown, bird-friendly, truly delicious Birds and Beans coffee, grown under the natural forest canopy in Central America to preserve wintering habitat for warblers and tanagers and thrushes and hummingbirds and all the more of the birds that we all love heading up this way soon. And we have a 1-year subscription to the great birding magazine BWD. Founded back in 1978 as Birdwatcher's Digest, it's back now. And bigger and better than ever with each large format issue, packed with beautiful photographs and illustrations and some wonderful articles by amazing authors like Julie Zickafoos and many others. A couple of prizes there, beautiful ones on our Mystery Bird contest. And here's that number again. It's 781-837-4900. Please call us as soon as you can at 781-837-4900. Meanwhile, let's ask Mike almost live from the archive in just 1 minute.
Squirrels have one mission in life: eat your birdseed. They hang, they swing, they stretch, climb, and plot their next move. For squirrels, your bird feeder is the ultimate prize. But now, they've finally met their match. Introducing the Squirrel Buster Evolution. When a squirrel climbs onto the feeder, its own weight automatically closes access to the seed, stopping the theft instantly while birds continue to feed comfortably. No batteries, no tricks, no complicated setup. Just smart, proven squirrel-proof technology that works day after day, season after season. That's why the Squirrel Buster Evolution was named Best New Birding Product of 2025 by the Wild Bird Feeding Institute. So let the birds enjoy the feast, and let the squirrels keep trying. Look for the Squirrel Buster Evolution at Brome.com or at your local bird shop.
Michael Connor is down there at the, well, I don't know if he's on Cape Cod or if he's in Key West, but I think on Cape Cod. Let's find out. Good morning, Mike. Do you know where you are?
Good thing for GPS. Hey, that Dr. Jim is pretty smart. For one of your guests, that was pretty good.
I know, it's a little unusual, but yeah, it worked out nicely. Some great advice there from Dr. Jim.
Yeah, it was good for him. Thanks for having him on.
I think I missed the first few seconds of your answer just now, and you said you're back on Cape Cod, right?
Oh, yeah, back on the Cape, man. I was just down there, living the good life with the flip-flops down there in Key West, checking out the birds, and I go down there, and everybody's walking around, Key West, like with a Hawaiian shirt and like a margarita in their hand, and I'm walking around with a big hat and binoculars looking for birds. I'm just the opposite of everybody else, but it was a good trip. And Key West is a cool place because it's actually closer to Cuba than it is the rest of the country.
Yeah.
It's, from Miami, it's further away than it is to Cuba. So Key West gets a lot of unusual birds coming over. What shocked me was that how few backyard birds that we're used to aren't there. Mm-hmm. There were no blue jays, there were no chickadees. I didn't see a finch. I didn't see a crow. I didn't see a chipmunk or a squirrel. So I couldn't open a store there because that's all I sell. I couldn't sell the stuff that I live on. But on the same token, you get some unusual. You get magnificent frigate birds. You get these kind of unusual short-tailed hawks, which are really a South American bird, but they come over. You get swallow-tailed kites, and the controversial great white heron that you get in a room of birders and they'll argue forever, is great white heron really a great blue heron that's white, or is it a whole different species? So it's exciting. But the reason I went there was to see white-crowned pigeons, because that's another bird that really lives in the islands, on the tropical islands, and it's not doing well because it's somewhat protected, but they don't really enforce it very well, so it's hunted pretty good. But on Key West, it's doing well. I saw several of them, and when you think of pigeons, you think of the rock pigeons that in the park eating French fries. These aren't that. They sit up in the trees. They're beautiful. They get this white crown. They're really well marked. They got a crazy yellow eye, and they nest in the mangroves and then fly up to the highlands for fruit, and so they don't do anything that the park pigeons do. And I remember seeing one on the cover of the ABA Guide to Florida once, and I said, I got to see that one day. When we went down there, and they seemed to be doing okay because I saw several of them, and it was kind of adventurous. So if you want a little different birding experience, and you like margaritas and Hawaiian shirts, yeah,
That's
beautiful.
That's the place to go. All right. Thank you, Mike.
Okay, talk to you next week.
Mike O'Connor there at the famous Birdwatchers General Store on Cape Cod. Mystery bird, please. There it is. Thank you very much. I should mention, by the way, Mike mentioned Dr. Jim Randolph, because that was an archived Mike program we just played, or Mike segment. Well, that segment with Dr. Jim Randolph was on March 9th of 2024. It was show number 1028. And you might want to check it out, especially if you have a dog, I guess, or cats, or a cat. And it has to do with, the danger of putting dog fur in birds' nests or providing it for birds' nests if you've been spraying the dog for ticks, for example, because that can be problematic. So check that out with Dr. Jim. There's some good information there. Again, that was our March 9th, 2024 show, number 1028. You can find it easily at our talkingbirds.com website.
Wildlife around the globe needs help. And when you help protect them, you become a friend of the San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance. A real friend. The kind of friend you want to thank. And not just with a card or a text, but with a song.
Thank you for being a friend.
Travel down the road and back again.
Your heart is true, you're a pal and a confidant.
Thank you for being a friend. Thank you for being a friend. Thank you for being a friend.
From your friends at the San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance, thank you for helping protect wildlife around the globe. Without you, there's no them. Learn more at sdzwa.org/friend.
Thank you for being a friend.
But we're back to the mystery bird, trying to identify the bird did we hear the bird? We heard it again. There it is. Yeah, probably enough right there. Let's see. I think we have Amanda. Is it Amanda or Edward we have first here? I think we have Edward maybe first. Is it Edward we have?
Sure, we'll go to Edward.
Sorry about that, Tim.
There he is.
Edward, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. You heard our clues and all of that. Edward, what do you think on the mystery bird there?
I think it's the Foster's tern.
Foster's tern. Tim, he says... Jeez, don't blame me. Tim is playing that button here. More about him later. But anyway, that's an excellent try. Edward, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Not a Foster's tern, but I think we're getting close here. I'm pretty sure. We have Amanda in Webster, New Hampshire. Hello, Amanda.
Hi there.
Hi, Amanda. So you heard the clues maybe and all that. What do you say about that mystery bird?
My guess is the common tern.
Yeah, the common tern. Whoa. Nice going there. Tim has something to say here, it looks like. Oh, no. I thought you were going to say something.
Amanda got it right. Congratulations.
Well put. Like many seabirds, by the way, common terns, did you know this, Tim? They can drink seawater as well as fresh water, as thanks to those special nasal glands they have that excrete excess salt.
That's what we need when we go in the ocean and drink the water.
More of those glands.
Yeah.
Can we work on that?
I don't know.
Next week? All right. Amanda, thank you. If you'll stay on the line, we'll take care of that and send you those beautiful prizes.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Amanda. Correctly identifying the common tern as our mystery bird on the show this morning. We are, I guess, pretty much out of time for this morning's show, and we'll have more about gardening for birds next week on our show. Meanwhile, thanks to our amazing Talking Birds team, Debbie Bleacher and Freya McGregor, and our show ran as smoothly as it did today because... That's right, Timmy time. Tim McKenney engineered our show today. Any mistakes that were made were created by yours truly. Thank you, Tim, for being with us here.
Oh, you're welcome. Nice to be in the seat again.
Hope to have you back again soon. I'm Ray Brown, reminding you that you can enter next week's Mystery Bird Contest no matter where you are on planet Earth if you listen live. See you next week.
Made possible by the generous support of the Birdwatchers General Store, Orleans, Cape Cod.
birdwatchersgeneralstore.com.
And by Vortex Optics with the VIP warranty. Their unlimited lifetime promise to keep you and your optic covered. Learn more at vortexoptics.com.